All right, in this video, I'm going to move through questions 2 and 3 of your booklet 1. So, using the equation y equals 1/3 x plus 5, answer the following questions and graph the line, okay? What is the slope and what is the y-intercept? The y-intercept we talked about in the other question above, particularly the first one, we talked about what the y-intercept was up here, right, with this question. And it happens when I plug in x equals 0, right? So if I'm looking at my graph, when the x value is 0, I want to find where along here, the y-axis, the graph is going to cross, okay? So what happens when I plug in 0 for x is I get 1/3 times 0, which is 0, plus 5. Right? So when x equals 0, right, I'm going to go find 5. What's up here? Well, there's my y-intercept in red, okay? And I'll get rid of, okay? Y-intercept's in red. Now, so the y-intercept is positive. You could even say 0 and 5 as a point, right? That would be preferred. Because the x value is 0 and the y value is 5. Okay, and then what is the slope? Well, the slope is the m value in the equation, and it's always represented as rise over run. Okay, so my slope in this question is what m equals 1/3, and it's telling me that I'm going to go up 1, right 3, because it's positive. 1, 2, 3. Right? And then I can go up 1, right 3. Up 1, right 3. Oops. Up 1, right. Up 1, right 3. Okay. Now the opposite of going up 1, right 3, is going to be going down 1, left 3. Right? And I can continue this pattern forever, but I can indicate forever by putting, I can indicate forever by putting arrowheads on the ends of my graph. That indicates going forever. So there's your equation, or there's your line graphed, and it takes on the equation y equals 1/3 x plus 5. Okay, and that's your line. So then we've got this other one down here, and we learned from above that this is simply a quadratic, right? If you look, and I see that this equation is written in factored form, which we've studied quite a bit, right? And so we're just going to check our way through each of these answers, okay? So direction of opening may be or may not be the easiest starting point. There's a few ways to do these questions. If you remember in class, we discussed the direction of opening comes from the sign, so either positive or negative, that's right here in front. If it were negative, it would be opening down, but I don't see the negative there, so it therefore must be opening up. So it's a positive value here, right? And so it's opening up, right? We can confirm this with a different way after, but let's just keep going. So what are the zeros now? The zeros we found, much like up here on this question up here, we found from looking at these two pieces, or what we call factors. So, and they take the opposite sign. So the zeros are going to be on our graph at -1, that comes from here, and +3. And you remember it always kind of takes on the opposite sign of what you see here. So we're going to see at -1, we're going to see 1 root, or 0. And at +3, we're going to see the other one. Okay. And then again, much like our y-intercept, we kind of want to see you write them as a point. So where x always comes first, and the y value is going to be 0, right? So same thing, and +3, 0. Those are my two x-intercepts, or the zeros, right, where the graph crosses the x-axis. Now the next step here, my axis of symmetry is simply, I'm going to find the middle of these values, right? So I see let's change color. I'm going to see 1, 2, 3, 4. I see four units in between my zeros, which means in the middle must be at 2. 1, 2. Okay. My axis of symmetry is right here. So it's like the mirror of the graph. And then we all want you to see you label. It happens when x equals 1. So it doesn't matter, every y value on this particular line has a value of x equals to 1. Right? So it doesn't matter. So I could plot the point 1, 6. I could plot the point 1, -4. They're all going to have a value of 1 for x. And that's how you know this is the axis of symmetry. It's an equation of a vertical line. So x equals 1 is the axis of symmetry. Once I know the axis of symmetry, I can go take this kind of acts as an input into my machine being this equation here. Okay, so I'm just going to rewrite it. Y equals x plus 1 multiplied by x minus 3. This is like a machine, right? This piece is the machine. This piece here is the output, right? So I can input things and get out outputs. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to find a y value for the x input of 1. So it's y equals 1 plus 1 multiplied by 1 minus 3. And that's equal to 2 multiplied against 1 minus 3 is going to be -2. And so my y value when x equals 1 is going to be -4. And without actually knowing, when I pick these points, there's actually my vertex right there, 1 and -4. And once I have that, I can basically, this question's over. We could ask you for the y-intercept, but we didn't in this question. The y-intercept, you recall, is from the c value. If you can see up here, where I've drawn in the orange, that would be the y-intercept if I wrote it in standard form. So this is standard. This particular equation is in standard form. So that would have been the y-intercept. This isn't the same question, but you could read it off. So I could just go like this now. I can connect the dots, and there is my parabola completed. Everything's drawn. It says graph and answer the questions, which I've done. A, B, C, and D. So if you wanted to, actually one more thing would be to actually state what the vertex is, which would be 1 and -4. And that